The NBA regular season is essentially over, and most teams are in playoff mode. For some teams, the season was a disaster, but for others, it's been an amazing one. One of those teams on the positive side has been the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have really put a lot of the league on notice. The Minnesota Timberwolves are in the midst of their winningest season in 20 years. A team that has been the laughingstock of the league for the majority of my life is now fighting for the #1 seed in the Western Conference. The T-Wolves have had a lot of things go great for them this season. They had 2 All-Star players, will likely have 2 All-NBA players, they have a 6th Man of the Year candidate, as well as the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year. And that has been their identity all season. Their smothering defense has changed the discourse of this team, with the league-leading defensive rating. Their defensive ability has been backed by Rudy Gobert. Before the season even started, I discussed how important his impact would be on that end, and now we're really seeing it pay off. But he can't take all of the credit. Carrying the best rim protector in the NBA with a top 5 perimeter defender is a cheat code. And luckily for the Wolves, they can do just that with Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels was undoubtedly snubbed of an all-defensive team last season, but there's a good chance that the league will right their wrongs this year. And of course, they have a lot of other guys. There's Anthony Edwards, who is much more than just a capable defender. Mike Conley has incredible defensive IQ and is a great team defender. You also have guys like Kyle Anderson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench, and when he was healthy, Karl-Anthony Towns actually showed a real improvement in that area. Ultimately, the vibes are high in Minnesota, but even with how great they've played, there's still a question of how far they can go in this year's NBA playoffs. There's just a couple of gripes that I have for this team. Their shot creation is clearly lacking. To make a deep playoff run, you're going to need a ton of that. Also, there's a question of how good will Karl-Anthony Towns look come playoff time. He's missed some time with a meniscus injury, and how long will it take him to get back into the groove of things? And most importantly for the playoffs, who is it that will step up when they need it most? Or maybe none of that will matter. Because when you have someone like Anthony Edwards, shit is just easy.
Over for Utah. Edwards gets it back and threw it down. Gives it up. Here's Edwards down the lane. The hammer!
The Twin Cities. Look at the moves by Edwards.
Swashbuckling and slamming. Pacers have a chance. Up ahead, Leishman. Blocked. Edwards getting up. And good night.
Anthony Edwards is clearly the catalyst for this team, and they'll go as far as he takes them. At just 22 years old, Ant has established himself as one of the best players in the league. He will make his first All-NBA team this season and has never been shy of the moment. He's shown to be a playoff riser, but then again, the game can be a lot different when people have set expectations on you. This will be the first time in his career that all eyes will be on him in the postseason, and a lot of people are expecting a lot of big things. So, how will this team fare? Currently sitting as a 2nd seed, and looking at the remaining schedule, my guess is that they'll hover between 2 and 3. Now, the first round matchup could be a handful of different teams. The Suns, Kings, Pelicans, Lakers, and Warriors are all still in the running for the final 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds. There are some matchups that are easier than others. I believe the Wolves will be able to easily take care of the Kings. I don't really trust the Warriors in the playoffs. Despite having Steph, this team just doesn't really strike me as one that's fit for a playoff run. So that would leave the Pelicans, Suns, and Lakers. Pelicans are a team that I talked highly of in my last video, talking about how they've been able to do a lot of good this season. Defensively, they are one of the best in the league, along with the Wolves. Matchup-wise, I think the perimeter defense of Herb Jones and the sheer athleticism of Zion will be the biggest determining factors of this potential series. And then of course, there's a potential of playing the Suns. Despite their struggles, they still have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, 2 players that are very much capable of going nuclear at any moment. They play just enough defense to get by. They have the shot creation needed to make a deep run, and they have other viable options that could get hot at any moment. I think a potential series between those two would be very, very good. And then of course, you got the Lakers. LeBron James, he's healthy. Anthony Davis, he's healthy. D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves are playing some of the best basketball that they've ever played, and this team is streaking at the right time. So basically for the Wolves, it'll be tough for whoever they play, and it might be a struggle to get out of the first round. But if I had to take a guess, I see this team making it to the second round, which would honestly be great for them, all things considered. I just think they're a few pieces away from really going all the way. But if one thing's for sure, this season here has been one of the most memorable for the Wolves franchise. And no matter what happens, they should be proud of how far they've come.